Search for MOFOLUWASO. It should come up immediately as Fofo. You'll see Fofo there.
Fofo, yes.
Yes. If you call me Fofo outside, I know you're my girl. Okay? That is the official name. Fofo is the is the pen name. Okay. So go to my bio, and you will find a freebie there that says 5 steps to writing your book.
Tap to the link below.
Yes. Tap the link.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Link in bio.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So
It's coming, right? Okay. If you can't find it now, just follow me. I have a free book actually, so I'm gonna do a random thing. I'm gonna pick one of my followers today. So follow me, and then you can always download that freebie later, just in case
So
you
which
don't.
one? 5. Yeah. Was it free?
Yes,
Are
you
we
will see.
downloading it?
Yes, you can download it now or download it later. But in case I don't finish, it's going to be very
to write
helpful.
a book.
Yes, 5 steps. That one. 5 steps to download it. So if your internet is acting up, just kind of follow me and then make a note. Yes, make a note and you can download that later. Okay, so we're gonna get started.
So much
Okay, cool. I need to stand here. Can I need to stand here? It's like a box. I'll stand here for the photos and stuff, and then if you don't mind, yes, I'll move around. Looks like I'm about to preach or something. Woohoo! All right. So good morning, everyone, once again, and thank you for coming for this session. I know you could be in any of the rooms or even downstairs, but I have a message which I started sharing, and it all started just 24 months ago. So it's just 2 years ago, and I realized that it's a message that many of us need to hear. And I'll tell you a quick fable. You can call it a fable, but a man was complaining of constipation, and after a couple of days, his wife was like, "Why don't you go to the doctor and have yourself checked?" And he went to the doctor, and they said they had to do whether laryngoscopy or whatever. They just had to see what was going on his inside. And they told him, "There are some things blocking your intestines. We probably have to go in there and get them out." And so they slated him for surgery. And on the surgery table, they realized there were these big blocks in his large intestines. And they opened it up to try to get them out, and guess what they found? Books.
No.
And they kept pulling them out. More books and more books. I like the looks on your faces. Because you know what? I believe that in every one of us, it's a minimum of 1,000 books. But many of us take those books to the grave. Let it sink in. Right here in this room, there is at least a book on your mind. What's the title of your book?
The Power of a Personal Brand with Purpose.
Power of a Personal Brand with Purpose. Boom. What's the title of your book?
Setbacks to breakthrough.
Oh my goodness. What's the title of your book?
The enemy inside me.
Wow. What's the title of your book?
The only way up is down.
Okay, so tell your neighbor, if I didn't ask you, just tell the person what's the title of your book.
It's
is.
okay to feel everything.
I love your title. What did you say?
It's okay to feel everything.
Absolutely.
Coming out this August.
Absolutely. Fabulous. But you know what? You just gave me those titles, but right now, there's another one on your mind. What's the title? Tell me, what's the title?
There's an expression in Spanish called "darle la vuelta a la tortilla," which is like how you can, like, how to say that, turn the
tortilla. Even just using that, you'll be shocked. How many people would like to view success, failure to success, like you're flipping a tortilla? That's a book. Another book. What's the title?
Just a children's book. It's called Tabby the Tooth Fairy. She ran away to find a way.
She ran.
Oh!
What's your book?
You just start writing, bro.
Anna Black.
Building bridges.
Building Bridges. What's the next book? Now I'm pushing you. Clara, what's your next book?
My floating self.
My Floating Self. Ooh. What's your next book?
Something around fashion, probably. How do you dress to not really impress others, but how do you dress to be yourself?
Now guess what just happened? If we spend the next 15 minutes and I keep pushing you, I'm going to get minimum of 10 titles out of it.
Yes.
How to write a book in 3 steps, not 5.
Boom. You got me, sis. You got me, sister. That's it. I even got a book. Let me tell you something
Let
better.
me write that before you do.
I'll give you how to write a book in 4 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, but what am I saying? Inside each and every one of us are books. And what are books? A book is just, if you look at the definition, it's just like words put together in a parchment. That's it. It's your story. It's your experience. You could write a book about the week I spent in India this week. That's a book. You could write a book about a friend you met in this conference. You could write a book of just sitting there and watching me. Everything around us is a book. I was eating a potato yesterday evening. You know, the round thing.
Yeah.
And in my mind, as I was chewing it, I was wondering, do I like it? Do I not? And I could write a book on that. You'll be shocked. Because someone might want to read that before trying it out. And be like, oh, okay, let me read Fofo's book. Then I'll know whether I should take it. But inside each and every one of us is a book. At least a book. I believe in a lifetime, 1,000 books. In my journey, I've written about 18 books in the last 2 years.
Wow.
And thank you. And I'm telling you, the first book I had to write, I thought it was so difficult. The best I had done was maybe a poem here, 30 words there. I struggled. How do people write books? How do they do it? And so I tried to find help. I looked around to people who had started writing or had written books. I went to libraries and I'll just go to a bookstore and admire the books on the shelf. I created a vision board. It's something I encourage. If you want to write, create your book vision board. I created one. What kind of title do I want to write about? What colors? What am I looking for? Things like that. And then I found a friend who was going to write a book, and I asked her if I could write a chapter in her book. And I felt to myself, if I could manage to write 1,000 words, then maybe I could do more. And so she gave me, she was very kind. She gave me a chapter in her book, and I tried to write 1,000 words. It was hell. Yeah. I think after 2 weeks I was still stuck on the first paragraph. And she kept telling me, I have deadlines, I have timelines, the editor is waiting. I'm like, I thought it was going to be a piece of cake. Okay. But with time, I got the formula. So 30 words became 1,000 words. 1,000 words became 6,000. 6,000 became 10, became 20,000. As I sit with you, in 1 hour, I could whistle out 60,000 words. And so I decided, when I found out I could do that year when I was cleaning up my house, it was December, I remember very well. And I was gathering up business cards. I'm sure you got a few in the conference. And I realized I had filled up a small bucket with business cards. So I sat on the floor, I was flipping through them. Half of the services I would never need. And I wondered, where did I get this many? How many networking events did I go to? And so I try to sort out the ones I would contact later and the ones, you know what, in a lifetime I will never need them. So I packed them back in the bucket and I was going to throw it in the bin. When it hit me, that just the same way I'm throwing away business cards, there must be someone who is throwing away mine. The one I shoved in their faces at that networking event, or the one I said, can you just, I barely met you in the bus stop, and I'm like, hey, here's my business card. I said, there's somebody who's throwing that away. So a business card most times would last maybe 5 minutes, 10. You might even take one in the room now, and before you leave, you probably have misplaced it because it's not adding any value to you. And so I told myself, what can I give people that will last longer than a business card? And it hit me, a book. So I told myself that year, and I went to put it on Facebook so that people would ask me about it. I put it there before I changed my mind. And I said, hey, I'm thinking of writing a book for every speaking conference I get next year. I had no invitations. I had no clue when I was going to get an invite, but I just put it there. I'm committed to writing a book and leave a book for every speaking engagement I get next year. And in that process, I ended up writing 10 books in 1 year.
Oh my God.
Number one, I brought a few of them. Number 2. Number 3.
Oh.
I brought a few. Number 4. Number 5. 6. 7. I got 18 in 24 months. How did I go from 30 words to writing 18 books? There was a desire. There are many people I've met who tell me, Fofo, I want to write. I'm like, okay, cool. Are you ready? Are you really ready? Because it's going to take time. It's going to take an effort. It's going to take a desire. And I want to share with you some tips that have helped me and I hope will help you with your book writing. The ebook I asked you to download, for those who are just coming in, if you just look for Mofolo Asho on Instagram, please follow me. There's a free book you can download there, and I'll just talk about those 5 tips and then some other practical tips that have helped. It's important for you to ask yourself some basic questions before you start writing. Why do you want to write a book? It's a starting point. I found out that many people want to write books, but when I ask them why you want to write the book, they can't answer me. And you'll find out that the days when you don't feel like writing, it is the why that will pull you up. When everyone else is sleeping and you wake up at 4 a.m. to start typing, or to start speaking your book, or to start writing your book, you realize everyone is asleep and you are there at 4 a.m. because there is a why. So the first thing you need to find out is, why do I want to write a book? There are usually 3 schools of thoughts that I hear. Some do it for passion. Some do it for profit. Some do it for legacy. Why do you want to write a book? Some do it for visibility. Some use it as a marketing strategy for a new topic or a new venture you're going into. Find your why. When you find your why, your book will be out in a jiffy. So the first thing to do is to find your why. Why do I want to write a book? That's the first question you have to ask yourself. The next thing is, what do I want to write about? Remember, I said if I keep pressing you, you're going to get like 10 or 20 titles coming out. What do you want to write about? There's so much to write about. Even just sitting here, I'm sure there's a story. Because we all love stories, right? The moment I said, okay, a man went to the doctor, what happened? You're there listening, you want to know what happened. What did they find in his intestines? What did they get out of that? So many people, we love stories, and people want to hear your story. Now, I've heard people say, oh, I don't have a story, I don't know what to write about. Oh, you'll be surprised. The fact that you've got great, beautiful hair, and some of us are struggling with that, it's straight, it's curly, write a book. The fact that, you just wake up in the morning and, I don't know how I got this way, you're just slim and sassy and write a book. What do you want to write about? Number 3, who is the book for? You must have a target audience. One of the lessons I learned while writing, I wanted to write a book for girls, because I have a foundation for girls age 8 to 19, just trying to get them to be courageous. So the book was titled Girl Courageous. And I was so excited about the book. I finished it because I was preparing for a launch and an award ceremony for courageous girls in my locality, and the book was supposed to be a gift to them. And I finished the book and sent it off to the editor. And she came back and said, "Can I be honest with you?" I said, "Yes, please, you've always been." She said the first 5 chapters relate to a girl that is 8 years old. But the last 5 chapters is for someone in her 40s. Oh! Are you for real? She's like, "Yeah, what happened?" She asked me, "What happened? What were you going through when you were writing the book?" I said, "Well, I know I had a few gaps in between, but I can't believe I ended up with a book where half of the book applies to girls and half of the book to women." And so I had to go back to the drawing board, yank the other half, and rewrite this one. Who is your book for? We all say, "Yeah, I have books for everybody." You can't have a book for everybody. If you write a book with a target audience in mind, it has more prospects to reach the direct person. Now, many of us were here yesterday when Catherine shared her book. She just took my topic out of my hand. Because your book should be your complimentary copy. Unfortunately, my books didn't get here on time. If not, I would have had one for each one of you. But I believe the best value you can give to someone, apart from the conversations you have at a networking event, is a book. Because even if they don't read anything, they can take out one thing, or they can give it to somebody else, and that book outlives you anyhow. So passion, profit, legacy, visibility, marketing, what exactly is your book for, and who is it targeted towards? Some of us connected with Catherine's book immediately. If you're a mom, the moment it says slay like a mother, you're like, ooh, slay, that's a catchy word. Mother, that's a catchy word. And even those who weren't married still wanted to get the book because, okay, maybe one day, you know. Yeah. Now, imagine if yesterday she brought all the books in and only guys were going there to pick the book. Wouldn't that be strange? True. Because her book was targeted to mothers. So when you write, think about it. Who is my book for? Is it for fashion divas? Is it for, journalism? Is it for students? Is it for girls? Is it for boys? Who is my book for? Is it for career women, professionals? Who is it for? It's very important. Now, when do I want to finish the book? So, what was the first question? Why?
Why?
Everything else hinges on the why. The next thing you ask is what? What, right? After that, for whom? Yeah? The fourth one, when? When? Let me ask you this. How many of us have had to read for an exam, but the date had not been set?
Nobody studies.
How do you, oh my goodness. How do you read when there's no date? You just read, right, randomly and just, with the music in your ears and you're just cruising around. And then you get that email that says, okay, the exam is in 2 weeks' time. Oh, or even tomorrow. That will be tough. That will be tough. Or they say your exam is in 2 weeks' time. What happens? Tell me, what happens?
You start
You
preparing.
start preparing.
You start preparing. It's the same you, right? But what changed? A date was set. Adrenaline sets in. The fear of failure, I know how much I paid for this course. Coffee becomes your best friend. The TV becomes your enemy. Sleep is like, oh my goodness, I need to keep my eyes open, right? That's what happens, procrastination. But that's what happens. But imagine you want to write a book and you put a date. That is the starting point. I've seen people who tell me, oh, Fofo, I want to write. This is April. They're still telling me, oh, Fofo, I want to write. When do you want that book to be out of your hands and in the hands of the people that need it? Set the date. Put it on a vision board. Put it somewhere in your room. Put it on your dressing mirror. Put it where you can see it every day. One of the things that helped me remember when I started to write my books was I committed it to a speaking event, right? And so once I got an invite, in fact, I went out looking for invites. And whenever I got one, that date was the date. And so it was easier to walk backwards, reverse engineer, and know, okay, if I need to get the book in the conference by this time, what do I need to do and when do I need to start? And there were 2 of those books where the conferences were cancelled, but I still went ahead to finish it. Because I'm like, you know what, I'm committed to this and I'm going to do it. Your when is critical. There are times some of my books have been written either hinged to a wedding anniversary, or my mom's birthday, or my own birthday, or something. It helps you to connect with your why. and get it out in time. You just find out that you can't sleep. Everyone else is sleeping and like, why are you walking like there's a clock in your head? Oh yes, there is a clock in my head because I need this book to be out. Okay, so when? And then the fifth thing are the strategies around it, the how. Strategies around the how. How do I want to write the book? Usually there are 3 ways to write a book. You can do it yourself, which means you literally pick up a pen and you start to write. You can have someone else write it for you, which is ghostwriting, where someone sits with you, understands the concept, goes, does the writing, comes back and review and stuff, which many of these busy professionals do. Okay? And if you're not writing, you can speak it. I tell people the fastest way to write your book is to speak your book. Before you leave India, you can finish your book. Quote me. And what does it take? Understand your why. Identify your what. Identify your who. Identify your when. And then figure out the how. Sometimes at home you might find out that the time you're less busy is maybe early in the morning before everyone wakes up, or in the evening after everyone has gone to sleep. When you commit yourself to a date and a time, it kind of creates space. Because guess what? It's what gets scheduled that gets done. I'm sure you know that. If you put it down and say, I'm going to do this, you get it done. You're here because you put it on your calendar. Against all odds. I made it on day 2, but I was like, you know what? I'm going. And it took three flights and almost 24 hours, but I'm here. And the same thing with your book. So those are the basic 5 steps. And now I'll just share a few practical examples, and then I want to have your questions, because I would love you to write your books like that. Okay? So some of the practical tips I've found with writing is you must have a plan. You must have a plan. So once you've identified all those, I have a planner which I use for coaching my clients, where we take you through what you want to write about, how you want to write it, when do you want to write, where do you want to write, what's the best mood. I've had clients who all they just need is lemon tea with honey and the words just start flowing. I'm like, oh my goodness. Some people prefer to do it early in the day, some in the night. A lovely tool, my phone is my best friend. Because there I've got Evernote, you can use Google Docs, you can use Audible, you can use Trello, anything. There are apps, there's so many apps nowadays that you can use to write. So if you're the type that loves to journal, carry a journal in your bag. Every time you look through, you remember something you want to write about, just note it down, and then when you settle down to do the writing, it's easy. Some people work with timing. You might say, I want to write at 4 a.m. every morning, I will get up, and for 1 hour, I'm going to write. Some say, I'm going to write 500 words or 1,000 words a day. Whatever works for you, figure it out, because it's your style. Book writing shouldn't be stressful. It should be something you love doing. And you're the type that loves just speaking as much as I do. Speak your book. How do you speak your book? Very simple. Look at your phone. It's got a voice recorder, right? Yeah, when you've got some time to yourself, record the chapter. You'll be amazed that in 7 days you got 7 chapters. Because we speak faster than we write.
That's true.
And by the time you finish speaking and you translate that, there's simple apps on the phone that can translate your speaking, but there's some that the moment you start speaking, it starts typing it in words, and then you just have to take it and download it in Microsoft Word or PDF. Boom, your book is done.
What is that?
So I wanted to ask that as well.
What apps?
So what apps are there which actually translates the audio recording into a typed?
Yes, there are a few apps. The one I usually use, which is on my phone right now. Could you help me with my book? A very simple one. It starts with T. I just need to get it out so I can share with you. But in my course, I have an audio course online. You will find a PDF in there that just tells you everything you need to know.
Can Google Docs do that? Like you can speak on Google Docs and
You can speak on Google Docs as well. Yes. Yes. It's a very simple one that you don't even need to pay anything for. You got Audio Master as well. I see Audio Master here.
Are these free or paid ones?
Google Docs is free.
Google Docs is free.
Yes. Audio Master is free. I've got another one. The simplest one I have is Otter. O-T-T-E-R. That's the one. O-T-T-E-R. That's the one I found recently, and you just speak it and it just writes it out.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're the type that speaks, use your speaking to write the book. Hinge it to a date. I told you that already. That's a faster way to get your book out. Have an accountability partner, someone who can ask you from time to time. You said you were going to write in January. It's April. Where are you? Okay. Find an environment that works for you. Sometimes it's in the morning, sometimes in the evening, some do it in the library, some it's on the road, in the bus. What works for you? Figure that out. And then use your planner to agree on, by when do I need to finish the book? By when do I need to send it to an editor? Will I publish it myself, or will I have someone else publish it for me? Do I want to do some marketing around it? Do I want to give it away for free? Remember, why do you want to write the book? Is it passion? Is it profit? Is it legacy? Is it visibility? Well, the key thing I hope I have been able to share with you today is it's possible. I want you to say it's possible.
It's possible.
It's doable.
No, it's doable.
So who is committed to write at least one book this year?
And she will share it.
Yes.
Yes.
And we share it together once we have it.
Yes.
I think so. We should note down who all were here
Yes.
today.
So I've done the same thing, that I've written chapters in books, co-authored anthologies,
Yes.
3 of them, and now I'm writing my solo. So 30% was over before I came to WEF.
Yeah.
Yesterday evening, I think I can finish it before I
Woohoo! Awesome. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So I really, for those I saw, half the hands went up, half didn't go up, For those who are still thinking, do I really want to write? If you check my website, www.mofoluwashop.com, my name is a long one. It's difficult not to keep that name because it simply means the Lord is my shepherd.
Oh.
And that's been the story of my life. 3 near-death experiences. God's kept me alive. I'm here and I'm still writing.
Wonderful. Super.
So that name means everything. The short form is Fofo, thanks to my mom. But then that's the way. So mofoluwashop.com. If you go to my website, you will find courses there. There is a simple audio course on book writing that you can take. It will take you through 5 steps. It's a 4-week challenge. Take you through 5 steps of how to write your book. What should come first? When should you start marketing? When should you start, looking for an editor? What should you do at some point? If you need a speaking app, if you need a writing app, what are the best tools, the things you can need? You will find it all on my website. So I encourage you to do that, and I look forward to reading your book.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question?
2 questions. I'll take 2 questions.
Yeah. So, what comes of publishing once you have the book? Self-publishing, would you give us some ideas on?
Yeah, so you have to decide for yourself if you want to do self-publishing or you want to use a normal book and mortar publisher. What I found out is usually for the book and mortar publishers, it works best if you already have a platform. There are many people who don't write books because they got rejected.
Yes.
Yeah.
Catherine was,
That's why I said.
yeah, Catherine was just talking about Slay Like a Mother. She had 23 rejections from publishers who said, you know what, this book will not make it. But guess what? The book is out. So if you're hung up on finding a big publisher, you must probably have a platform or someone who knows someone. It's not easy. So I encourage people who are newbies to writing, self-publish yourself. Amazon makes it so easy. Amazon makes it so easy these days because you build your confidence from the first one. And you know what? Every book you write is still not your best book. The best book is coming. All this 18 I've written, it's just a warm-up. But you know what? If you don't get the warm-ups out,
Yes.
and you're waiting for that perfect book, you may never start
And
writing.
a lot of people get stuck in there to make it
Yes,
perfect.
yes, the perfect. There is no perfect book because the same way there's no perfect phone. Why do you have iPhone 9 and 10 and 11 and 8 and they're always upgrading. Your apps are always upgrading. And if you remember in school, even with books, there is edition 1, version 2, so even the same book, you can rewrite it. Okay, last question.
What do
Time
you
is
think
up.
of ghostwriters?
What do I think of ghostwriters? I think ghostwriters are fabulous. They feel a need, especially for people who are extremely busy. I'm telling you, a lot of this lovely leadership gurus.
Yeah, Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
She didn't write.
Of course. Where's she gonna get the time to write? Well, then the thing is, yeah, for busy people, it's ghostwriting, and that's a need where people feel today. So it's called Do It For Me. And in Do It For Me, all they're doing is they listen to your story. They're great writers. They try to pour your soul into the book, and then they you know, in a way that when you buy it, you think, I wrote it. A great ghostwriter does a fantastic.
Thank you so
Although
much.
I believe I'm not too good with selfies.